hope all is well. I'm a little late wrapping up with clients, but hey, we're here, guys. We are here. We are here, and I am excited to be. I hope everyone had a great weekend. I hope that everybody had a great day today. And I'm excited to talk about our topic today. Just getting it pulled up here. Just a second here. All right, here we go. So why do we struggle to receive is our topic today. I think in the poll, it was originally, why do we struggle to receive love specifically? But I kind of broadened it because I feel like there's so many different, if you struggle to receive love, there's probably a lot of other areas that you're struggling to receive also. So I kind of broadened it so that way we can talk about it more in a generalized way in case it shows up differently for others. So we're just going to talk about why we struggle to just receive or to be on the receiving end of things. I hope this is helpful. This is a different topic than what we've done in the past. So I hope it's helpful. I hope it gives you guys some insight. Really just, this is for us to bring more awareness to it and then maybe give you a few things that you can use to help you to pull yourself out of these thought patterns, okay? So we'll talk about why we may struggle to receive. We'll also talk about how do I know I may struggle with this. Then we'll talk about why is receiving so hard or so difficult. And then how do I begin receiving? So I think I might also just have a few, I have like 3 journaling questions that you can walk away with at the end. So yes, I hope this is helpful. If this is your first time, my name is Debbie. I am a certified mindfulness coach and pre-licensed therapist. Almost done, y'all. Almost done with my hours. We getting there. But yeah, this channel is all things self-care. We talk about several different topics that are typically voted on by those who subscribe. And then from there, we just talk about these things every Monday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. And tonight, again, we're talking about why we struggle to receive. So I hope this is helpful. Hi, AJ, welcome in. And so with that, this is very interactive. So feel free to talk back to me if you have any questions. Feel free to drop them in the comments. If you want me to repeat anything or need me to go back to anything, just let me know. I'll be more than happy to do so. Hello, 77 Meta. Is it Ballista? Welcome in. So we will dive in, y'all. Again, let me know if you have any questions. Let me know where you're watching from. And if this is something that you experience, okay? So when it comes to why do we struggle to receive? First, let's just talk about what receiving means or what I mean by that, right? So receiving means allowing yourself to experience something positive without immediately rejecting, minimizing, or feeling like you have to earn it in order to have whatever it is you're receiving, okay? So it could be receiving love, receiving help or support, receiving kindness, receiving even just rest or allowing yourself to rest, receiving compliments, receiving generosity, or gifts or favors, right? Receiving emotional support, receiving grace, receiving forgiveness, validation, healthy dependence, or just receiving celebration or being celebrated, okay? So just keep that in mind when thinking about what you may be struggling to receive. And if any of these are ones that you are experiencing, drop them in the comments. Thank you, Denny. Is it Zephy? Thank you. So yeah, I'll go back through these. So drop them in the comments if these are anything that you are having a struggle with. And it's love, help, kindness, rest, compliments, generosity or gifts or favors, emotional support, grace, forgiveness, validation, healthy dependence, or just being celebrated. Let me know in the comments if any of these are something that you're struggling with. And we will go to the next area. Just a second here. All right, so how do I know I may be struggling with these things, right? Maybe this is like something like, okay, well, I mean, sometimes, I don't want to be a burden to people, or I want to be independent, or I want to make sure that I'm not pushing myself off on other people, right? When it's things that I'm trying to get done. So how do I know that this may be a struggle for me? I'll start this with a question. Have you ever noticed that it's easier for you to give to others than it is to receive from others, right? That's a first indication or small indication. But some other things that you can notice is you are able to encourage everyone else, right? But you're not able to receive encouragement. You show up for everyone else, but you're not able to allow people to show up for you. You accept criticism easier than compliments, right? So you're able to be criticized, or you're able to get feedback from people, constructive feedback, easier than you are to receive compliments or receive gifts or to receive help, right? You feel guilty when someone helps you. You downplay your accomplishments, right? You push people away when they get too close to you, right? When they're trying to help you. You often question why someone loves or why someone wants to be close to you, which, I mean, there is some element of discernment that you have to use in interacting with people, right? But I'm saying often, like everybody you question, right? You would rather struggle than ask for help. You often feel guilty when someone does something for you. You often worry that you owe someone if you accept their help. You immediately explain away compliments or compliment the other person instead of accepting their compliment. And then, or even just embarrassed by compliments. Okay. So these are just examples of how you may know whether you're struggling. But really what this is all linked to is that there is a core belief somewhere. There's a core belief somewhere that tells you that you're not allowed to have these things. You're not allowed to receive forgiveness. You're not allowed to receive love. You're not allowed to receive whatever, right? And the misconception is that the difficulty in receiving things is a personality, or is your personality, or is a personality trait. When in actuality, it's a protective measure. You're just protecting yourself, or it's a distortion of your worthiness, right? So you may tell yourself that you're not worthy of these things. And because of that, you fall into just rejecting it altogether as a form of protecting yourself. Okay. Hello, Chandra. Welcome in. But yeah, so that's just the gist of it. I hope this is helpful. I just went through how do I know I may be struggling with these things, and then also just what is the things that we could be struggling to receive. Again, love, help, kindness, rest, compliments, generosity, emotional support, grace, forgiveness, validation, healthy dependence, or just being celebrated. Okay, so just keep those in mind. Okay. So when thinking about this, at some point, love, support, or care was inconsistent in life. So why this may show up, right? At some point, some love, some support, some care of some sort was very inconsistent. And so your brain may have learned that receiving these things is not safe, okay? So in the past, let's see here, wearing it, 21 gun, wearing it with the badge of honor. I'm not sure. Are you talking about what I'm talking about? Or are you talking about something different? Okay, so at some point, love, support, and care was inconsistent. And so your brain may have learned that receiving isn't safe. So it may have learned help came from strings attached or following up with manipulation. Your vulnerability has been thrown back in your face, right? Gifts came with expectations of loyalty, compliance, or good behavior, right? Your needs somewhere were dismissed. Vulnerability led to pain, okay? You were criticized for not being grateful enough, right? You learned that accepting help meant giving up your independence. Somewhere you were ignored, criticized, or treated as being too much. Okay. Okay. Yeah, and it's sometimes that goes back to the personality trait, right? Where you take it on as a badge of honor, and that struggle of, these things that I just listed of help came with strings attached and followed up with manipulation, or gifts came with expectations and loyalty. Those things all come back to validate that trait or that personality trait to where you're able to continue to wear it as a badge of honor, when in the end it can be hurtful and harmful and can ultimately cause more damage, not necessarily to yourself because of the fact that it's protecting you, but damage to relationships and to connection, and to just be able to have a sense of community. And that in itself is damaging to the point where you have a high level of feeling lonely or depression or sadness or a lack of connection. That can make things difficult for you. So yeah, so I hope that this is helpful, at least in identifying. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, so when it comes to why is this so difficult? Why is it so hard for us to receive these things? We talked about it a little bit, but we're going to go a little bit more in depth. I think like 6 reasons as to why. But why is it hard to receive love? Why is it hard to receive help? Why is it hard to receive kindness and rest and compliments and generosity and emotional support? Why is it hard to receive those things? Number one, we learned that receiving these things had conditions, just like we talked about. Many people grew up believing for me to receive these things, I have to behave. I have to have a sense of achievement. I have to make everyone happy. I have to earn affection, right? These are just the ways that we have been conditioned as we've grown up, right? When it comes to that, as adults, we found that unconditional love feels suspicious or it feels unsafe, right? So instead of relaxing, we wonder, what do they want from me? Instead of receiving these things, what do they want from me? We start to question. We start to have a hyper curiosity, right? So just keeping that in mind, that's number one. Number two, hyper independence becomes protection and our default, right? So sometimes the thought of I don't need anybody, right, isn't confidence. It's more so of survival. It's more so of protection. It's survival mode, right? So many people learn now no one is coming, right? This is maybe something that we've learned as children or just in young adulthood or whatever. We learned no one is coming. We learned if I depend on people, I'll get hurt. Like it's immediate. That's the immediate thought. If I depend on someone, I'm going to get hurt. It's going to happen. It's inevitable, right? It's easier if I just do it myself, right? So we teach ourselves these conditions. So receiving help feels like losing control of a situation or losing control of yourself, right? And because of that, that keeps us in this protection mode. Number 3, we confuse worthiness with productivity, okay? So we become comfortable earning these things that we're receiving, right? We get comfortable with, I have to earn these things instead of it just being gifted to me, right? So not receiving, right, is easier than getting comfortable with that, okay? So I don't know where my moderator is, but just a second. Um, all right, y'all. Okay. Um, okay. So where was I at? We were at number 3. We confuse worthiness with productivity. Okay. Or, yeah, we confuse worthiness with productivity. So we become comfortable with the earning. All right. We feel like if we haven't earned it, then we don't deserve it. Right. Um, if we, in our feeling of earned it, or our ideas of earned it, are also subjective. Right. We feel like we have to go over and beyond these things in order to receive the thing, whether it is to receive love or forgiveness or all of these things, right? So I won't even put forgiveness in there, because you may have to work for some forgiveness. But when it comes to just receiving on the love end, or receiving on the gift end, or generosity or help or support, right? So let me see, I had some examples here of this. Yeah, so worthiness with productivity. I'll rest after I finish everything, right? Or constantly repeating to ourselves we don't deserve something, right? Or consistently repeating to ourselves, I didn't do enough to receive this, right? Our values become attached to performance. And so when we're not performing, or we can't perform in a certain way, then that brings our worth meter down, to the point where it makes it even more difficult for us to receive. And then if we do that consistently over a period of time, that worthlessness, or that feeling of worthlessness, becomes our default state. It becomes our default core belief about ourselves. And so anytime something comes our way that speaks to the opposite of worth, then we all of a sudden, can't receive it. We reject it. We push it away. And we feel like it's protection, when it's actually feeding that core belief of worthlessness. Okay. Keeps the spiral going. That was number 3. We confuse worthiness with productivity. Number 4, compliments don't match your self-beliefs. And that's just kind of piggybacking off of number 3, right? When someone says you're amazing, and then your brain immediately says, no, I'm not. So with that, now you have to reject it because you don't believe the compliment, right? The compliment isn't rejected because it's false. It's rejected because it conflicts with the story we believed about ourselves, right? Our internal perspective is what matters here, how we internally feel about ourselves. And because of that, we're unable to accept a lot of the things that I listed, because of the fact that our internal views about ourselves are not positive. Our brains naturally filter information through our existing core beliefs. And if your existing core belief is, I'm a horrible person, then you're going to filter everything, including compliments, through that, right? And if someone gives you a compliment and they say that you're amazing, but internally you're saying to yourself, I'm not. I'm just a horrible person. I don't do this. I don't do that. I didn't earn this, right? Then you're going to continue with the loop of not being able to receive or accept things. That was number 4. Number 5, vulnerability feels dangerous. So receiving means letting someone matter in your life, right? It means trusting that person. It means investing time and energy and intimacy with that person once you become vulnerable. It means allowing someone to see your needs. Okay. And for many people, that has not gone well in the past, right, with other people. So because we have evidence of that, we just choose not to be vulnerable with anybody, right? Which is a common human response. Like if you have evidence of your vulnerability not being received well, then, over time, again, it will become your default. It will become your default state in how you think and how you see the world, right? So it's just a matter of recalibrating our brains to think differently and have a different perspective. But with that, it just takes time to work through, right? It also takes in consideration environment, the entertainment that you or who you entertain, or the people that you entertain, the spaces that you would entertain. There may be having to be some adjustment there, but there's a way out of that, because not being vulnerable puts you in a very difficult space of having to internalize everything. And the more you internalize, the more that it becomes detrimental to your well-being, your mental health, but even just your body in general, your physical body. Okay. That was number 5. Number 6, fear, the fear of becoming a burden. It's another part of the worthiness, right? We feel like we don't want to take up too much space. We don't want to, have attention on us, right? I don't want to bother anyone. They already have enough going on, so I don't want to put another burden on them, right? I should be able to handle this myself, right? This is another core belief we tell ourselves. I should be able to do this myself, so I don't need help. When you act in actuality, you just may need help this one time, or, you may need support, or you may need somebody to lean on during that time because of other things that you have going on, right? Now, there's a level of this that is just you being considerate of the other person, right? But then there's also a lot of this that is more so of, again, core beliefs that we are allowing to stay in the forefront. And with that, it keeps this spiral going of not being able to receive, even when people offer it, right? There's times like where when it comes to fear of being a burden, someone can offer their help and you still may reject it just because you don't want to be a burden to them. But they offered, right? They wanted to help. Some people want to help you and desire to care for you. And because of that, it can create damage to a relationship over time. That person, then they'll start to feel rejected and all of these things, right? So that's a big topic. So I won't go too deep into it, but that's one of the ways that it could show up. And then lastly, we mistake receiving for weakness. This kind of brings it all back home, right? And it also, even with all of these that I went through, all of these are rooted in fear, right? All of this is rooted in fear and anxiety about a certain thing, right? So lastly, we mistake receiving for weakness. So culture often praises being independent, being self-made, being strong, right? But emotionally healthy people know receiving requires courage. And it's not necessarily a weak thing, but that's maybe something that we may be telling ourselves. And because of the fear of appearing weak, right? In that we just reject help or support. We reject all of these things, right? So keeping that in mind, I hope this is helpful, y'all. That was just 7, I guess it's 7 fears in receiving. Because I feel like these are all just fear-based. We learned that receiving things had conditions. We're fearing conditions, or fearing not being independent and being dependent. We're, fearing appearing to not be productive, right? So it's all fear-based, right? So Let me make sure I didn't miss anything that I wanted to go through. Oh, how do we begin receiving was the next section. Where are we at with time? We got some time. We got some time. Just a second. Yeah. So, how do we begin receiving? There's just 3 steps here. We become more aware of our first reactions. This goes back to the conversation I was talking about when it came to core beliefs, right? Becoming more aware of your first reactions when it comes to someone trying to give you love, or someone trying to give you grace or some form of forgiveness and things like that. Becoming aware of your first reactions highlights your core belief, right? It highlights what you believe about yourself and what you believe about receiving that specific thing, right? So when someone compliments you, what happens inside, right? What happens physically? What happens in your mind, right? Is it embarrassment? Is it discomfort? Is it suspicion, right? Get a really good grasp on what your first reactions are. And in getting that information about what your first reactions are, that gives you insight to your core belief about it in order for you to begin challenging that belief, right? I know we've talked about, automatic thoughts in the past, but those automatic thoughts are truly what you believe about yourself. And so finding ways to challenge those things is how you'll be able to at least initiate different responses when it comes to receiving. So asking yourself, what am I afraid will happen if I accept this? This is how we challenge, okay? What am I afraid will happen if I accept this? Okay, and consider, maybe I don't have to earn every act of kindness. That's a possibility. Maybe that's something that you don't necessarily have to earn. Reminding yourself of that. Another way to challenge, maybe it's okay to let someone help me today. And I put today because this is small steps, right? We got to take into consideration the situation, the person that's hoping to help, your capacity and abilities, right? But maybe I don't have to earn every act of kindness. Maybe it's okay to let someone help me today. Maybe accepting doesn't mean I owe them anything in return, right? Doesn't necessarily mean that. Okay. Let's see. Maybe my needs are not a heavy burden. Maybe it's not as heavy as you think it is. Hi Joe. I don't like being helped. I have a big ego. I mean, it's ultimately up to you and how you want to navigate it. I would ask, like, why you don't like being helped. That's the first question. What is it? I know you said there's a big ego, but that's a mask. There's fear behind that ego and why you're not able to be or don't want to be helped. And you got to ask yourself what it is that you fear. Let's see here. Maybe accepting doesn't mean I owe anything in return. Maybe my needs are not a heavy burden. Maybe I am more worthy than I've allowed myself to be. Right? These are all questions and ways you can challenge. Maybe receiving is connected to my healing. Maybe I can trust myself to recognize healthy love. Maybe I can let my guard down at a slower pace rather than not at all. Those are all ways that you can challenge, okay? I like the feeling of doing things myself. I get that. I don't like anyone saying they had contributions to what I am trying to do. Interesting. It's I can see why having that feeling of doing things yourself is important, right? But I would challenge to ask a further question, asking why that's important. Why is it so important for you to feel or have that feeling of doing things on your own? There is somewhere in the past where you felt too dependent on something or someone. And so with that, the feeling of doing things on your own boosted your confidence, which is a great thing, but there's still a hurt or a shame there that keeps fueling not being able to receive help. Could be, but it could also be that there is something along the way, and it doesn't have to be a big event. I know when we talk about like trauma or traumatic experiences, that they have to be these huge events, but the trauma itself isn't necessarily the event, it's your response to the event, right? So I know like people say my trauma or all of this, like, oh, I have all this trauma, and they're talking about situations and people, right? But in actuality, in therapy, the definition of trauma isn't necessarily the actual event or the thing, it's your response. So sometimes our responses are developed conditioning or core beliefs that we have built up over time. And because of that, because it's not a big grandiose thing that has happened, we feel like it's not necessarily a traumatic response or a traumatic thing, but it could have created some conditioning within ourselves that happened very early, that happened very young, right? That is unconscious or conscious, could show up in many different ways. But yeah, I won't go too deep into that, because then that becomes a therapy session. And this isn't therapy, guys. This is just a matter of me sharing information as a pre-licensed therapist and certified, mindfulness coach. That's true. There is a lot of truth to what you're saying. I'm not saying that that it's not okay for you to want to have independence, but when your independence becomes detrimental to your well-being, is when you want to actively start to ask yourself these questions. You could be perfectly fine, right? This is just for those who feel like they are having a difficulty receiving these things. And because of that difficulty, it creates a sense of either worthlessness, or it creates a sense of depression or sadness, or it's impacting their relationships, where they're not able to maintain relationships because of these things. So yeah, if you're not having that experience, then it may not be for you. But if you are having those experiences, something here may be helpful. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything, y'all. That was number 2, challenge the belief. Practice receiving in small ways. Did I say that? I don't think I did. Yeah, so number 3 was practice receiving in small ways. Pause before pushing kindness away. Okay? So this is really a small step. Pause before pushing kindness away. You don't have to earn every good thing. Some things are simply gifts, and that's okay. Love isn't always about a transaction, or it shouldn't be, right? And support isn't proof you're incapable, right? It's not proof that you can't do it on your own, but if someone is able to give you help and support, it's okay to take that support, right? Let's see. Okay. So that was number 3, practice receiving in small ways. And then lastly, guys, I have a few journaling questions that you can take away. And I hope this was helpful. I hope this information was helpful, y'all. It may not be something that's impacting you now, but may impact you later, or may have impacted you in the past. But again, I hope this is helpful. 3 journaling questions you can take away if you want to explore this further. Number 1, what feels hardest for me to receive? And I'll give you the list again that we talked about at the top. But what feels hardest for you to receive? Let me go back to the top with my list. Is it love? Is it help? Is it kindness? Is it rest? Is it compliments, generosity, gifts, or favors? emotional support? Is it grace? Is it forgiveness, validation, healthy dependence? I say healthy dependence, or being celebrated. Okay. And there could be a lot more things, but those are the core of what I talked about tonight. So, what feels hardest for you to receive? And then, number two, what story do I tell myself when someone offers help or support? What story do I tell myself when someone offers help or support? Right? Um, and it's just like, even just thinking about what Joe said of like feeling the feeling of doing things himself. He just likes that feeling, right? Of doing it on his own. So think about what story you are telling yourself. And is that story true? Is there evidence of that story? Is it something that is always true or just sometimes true, right? Because sometimes we operate in absolutes, right? Or in absolutes, right? Sometimes we say, okay, this has happened to me once or twice, and because of that, it will always happen that way, right? And so sometimes when that happens, it creates this core belief that this is always going to happen no matter what. Anytime someone gives me a compliment, there's something behind it, right? And we, over time, we have that play in our mind to the point where now we reject every compliment, right? And then last question, what would change if I believed I was already worthy of receiving? What would change if I believed I was already worthy of receiving? Okay. What would change? I'll say that again. What would change if I believed I was already worthy of receiving? Okay. Again, y'all, I hope this is helpful. I really do. Like I say, this isn't therapy. This is just information that I can provide to you guys about a specific topic that was voted on. Thank you to everybody that voted. I think that was 2 weeks ago when everybody voted on this particular topic. So I hope this is helpful. I hope this gives you some insight. If this is something that you want to work through a little bit more, you want to get a better understanding, if you are working with a therapist, I definitely recommend taking it in, take your journaling questions, take your questions into a therapist. If you're not going to therapy and you wish to, seek out therapy. I am in Illinois, so I can only see Illinois clients at this time. So feel free to go to the link once this is posted, and you can request a session with me if you wish to. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I'm missing. No. If this is your first time, my name is Debbie. I'm a certified mindfulness coach as well as a pre-licensed therapist. I'm going through my internship hours as we speak. I am almost done. I got 2.5 quarters left. We are going, y'all. We are going. So I hope these sessions are helpful. We do this every Monday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. So definitely check out the other sessions, as well as next week. I will post the poll for our next topic, probably Saturday. Probably Saturday. Yeah. I'll probably forget Friday. I got craziness on Friday. So look out for the poll, vote, and that way we can go ahead. Yes, you late, because I'm ending. I'm ending it out. But yes, I will see y'all all next Monday. I'm hoping that I'll have some new like meditations and breath work videos out to you guys. September, October, probably. I had to get some new recording equipment that I still to this day have not set. Well, it's set up a little bit, y'all. It's over there. It just I still have not gotten it set up, y'all. It's been a lot. I work full time. I'm in internship. I'm in classes. My days be gone. And children, okay? So my days be gone. So just keep that in mind, y'all. I'm hope that I'll be able to get y'all some new videos out in September or October. That's my goal. That's what I'm shooting for. So with that, y'all have a great rest of your day. Let me hide stuff. I ain't got time for the foolishness. Y'all have a great rest of your day, y'all. And I feel like, actually, never mind. I'll hold that. I'm gonna hold that for later. Y'all have a great night. You'll see the update for this video up probably in the next 20 minutes. It should be up so that way you can watch the replay. Other than that, y'all have a great night. Bye.